And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Cornucopia is the newest expansion for Dominion. This is the fourth expansion for Dominion. We already have Intrigue, Seaside, Alchemy, and Prosperity. While Alchemy was a bit of a bust, it added some interesting things, but really nothing to make it that fantastic. Prosperity, Seaside, and Intrigue were just absolutely fantastic, especially Prosperity. Cornucopia is a small expansion. As you can see, it's only half the size. In fact, there's not a lot in it. In fact, it's kind of like, oh, I think I'm buying this just to get a few more cards. I much prefer the bigger expansions because they just add a whole lot at one time. The theme of Cornucopia is a lot. Much. Well, wait, wasn't it the theme of Prosperity? Well, they differ to some degree. Let's take a look at some of the cards.
Yum.
Alright, let's take a look at some of the cards that are in this set. First we have the farming village. Everyone likes villages. This is the third village in the game. Another one that gives you +2 actions, but then you can reveal cards until you find an action or treasure card. You put that in your hand. Alright, that's a useful card. Very useful card. That's why it costs 4. Farming village is one of those cards you will see people buying. Fortune Teller is an attack card, which makes people put victory or curse cards back in their deck. It's not a very powerful attack card. It's more of a slight annoyance than anything else. But it does give you 2 gold, and it only costs 3 to buy. The remake, some people swear by this. I'm still not sure where I'm on this one. Where you trash 2 cards. Well, you can do it twice. You have to do it twice. You trash a card from your hand, then gain a card costing exactly 1 more. Not sure on that one, but it only costs 4, and so some people are going to like the remake. What this set does, what Cornucopia does, is it rewards, and here's the picture of Cornucopia, here it rewards having multiple different cards in your deck, something I think highly of. That's a good concept in Horn of Plenty, which is a treasure card worth 0. However, when you play this, you take a card costing up to 1 for each differently named card you have in play, counting this card. If you do take a victory point card, then you lose it. But that's still pretty interesting, because if you manage to get 5 different cards, then every time you play this, it's as if you have a $5 card in your hand. And with the draws and such, you can get more. I saw someone buy an 8-point province with this card. It's really a convenient card. Now here is my favorite card in the whole game. Jester. Love this guy. He gives 2 gold. That's not the big deal. The big deal is, every other person, he says, okay, take the top card of your deck, turn it over. Then he will say, I'm going to take a copy of the card you just turned over, or you get a copy of it. So let's say this was you, and I made you turn that copper over. Well, I'm going to give you another copper. Isn't that nice of me? But if you turn over a gold, then I'm going to take the gold. Jester's great. If you turn over a curse, guess what you just got? Another curse. And if you turn over a victory point card, unfortunately you can't take those, but you still get to give that person a curse. Jester is fantastic. Alright. Another good card in this deck is a Horse Traders, which is a react card, one I like very much. Now, it's normal thing here, +1 buy, +3 gold, and discard 2 cards. It doesn't sound so useful, but the fact is, when someone attacks you, you take this card, you set it out of your hand, and then in your next hand, you take this card back in your hand, plus another card. So when you play this, you're going to discard 2 cards. It basically, when someone attacks you, that means your next hand you're going to have 6 cards, or 7 cards actually, even though you have to discard 2 of them. The chance of you having to discard victory points is pretty good and such. And it's a +3, +1 buy. Great defensive card. A lot of people are going to like this one, the Horse Traders. Fairgrounds, another victory point card that I like a lot. It's worth 2 points for every 5 different cards in your deck. Again, on this Cornucopia theme. Most games, when you play them, if you're playing with Prosperity, you can get up to probably 20. If you play the tournament cards, I mean, you could get, maybe I could see a way to get 25, but 20 is probably the max you're ever going to get. But still, that would make this an 8-point victory card for 6. It's great. And even if you just got 15 or more different cards in your deck, that's still worth 6 points and is still cheaper than the Province. Fairgrounds, very good card. The Young Witch, this is before she got old and decrepit. She lets you draw 2 cards, you discard 2 cards, and then every other player reveals a Bane card. Otherwise, they gain a curse. Now, at the beginning of the game, you pick another card that costs 2 or 3. So, in this instance, we picked Hamlet. So you can play with 11 cards, 11 decks of cards. And these are Bane cards. So if you have these cards, they protect you from the witch. So everyone is buying these to protect them from this young witch, because no one likes to get curse cards, and it's also useful. So that makes the Hamlet card a little bit more valuable. But the witch still giving you 2 cards is still neat, even though they didn't have to discard 2 cards. It's just a very intriguing attack. I'm not sure how I feel on it. By the way, the Hamlet's a pretty neat card. Then this is the big card of the deck, the Hunt. Well, we'll get to tournament later. We'll come back to it. Meanwhile, I want to talk about cards that give diverse things. Hunting Party is +1 card, +1 action, and then another card you draw that's going to be different than the other cards in your hand. Very, very useful. Very much like the Hunting Party, hunting down that card you need. The Menagerie, this one doesn't always work for me. It's +1 action, you get +1 card with it, but if you have a hand with no duplicates, you get +3. It's hard to pull off a hand with no duplicates, but if you do, that makes it worthwhile. Still, it's not bad for $3. And then finally, the Harvest. Reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, discard them, and you get +1 for coin for each differently revealed card. Again, these cards promote diversity. Now the tournament, or for you Southerners, the tournament. The tournament card gives you +1 action. That's great. Each player can then reveal a province from their hand. So if you happen to have a province in your hand, at this point in time, you can reveal it. Yay! And then you get to take a prize. So this is kind of a weird kind of thing to do, because you have to take a chance that no one else has a province card when you play it. And it seems like this card works best with Prosperity, because in Prosperity the province cards don't go so quickly. But if you're at the point where you're buying tournaments hoping to get these Prosperity cards because you have provinces in your hand, the game's going to be running to a close already. I'm not sold on this card. Now, I am sold on the prizes. I think the prizes are neat. And you know, here's my pick for the prizes. My thing for the prizes would be this. You take one of these prize cards and you stick it in someone's deck when you're first playing them and say, this is your handicap. You get this awesome card to start with. Because these are awesome cards. I mean, look at them. This one, choose any of these 2. Draw 2 cards. Draw 2 actions. +2 gold. Take 4 silvers and put your deck in the discard pile. I mean, that's a great prize. Or a bag of gold, +1 action. And then it gives you a gold. Or the followers, +2. Gain an estate. Everyone else gets a curse and discards down to 3 cards. That's ridiculous. The Princess, +1 buy and everything costs 2 less on the table. The Diadem, it's 2 gold, and every time you use it, it's +1 for every unused action that you take. So if you have +4 actions and you haven't used them up, the Diadem is worth more. So these are great prizes, and you get them from the tournament, but it's a little wonky to pull off. This almost feels like the Race for the Galaxy expansion where they added in war, but it was this convoluted process to get something. That's the way I feel about this also. But these are the cards that come with this set. So there you go. This is definitely 2 things it's definitely not. It's definitely not critical to enjoying Dominion. If you skip this expansion and wait to the next one, I don't think you're going to miss a lot. Secondly, it's definitely not newbie friendly. If this is your first time playing the game, these are more complicated cards than have come in the last ones, I think, by far. Again, I'm sure I'm going to get comments underneath the video. Okay, look down there. Someone tell me why I'm wrong and why Tournament is the greatest thing ever. I'm just not seeing it. I like the prizes, but the effort to pull it off doesn't come through me. But there's a lot of other cards in there that I do like. I'm really glad that I got some of those cards that I can add into the general mix. And the Cornucopia theme of getting lots of different cards is something that I can get behind. So yes, I'm going to throw this in my Dominion set. I'm going to mix them in. I'm going to play with them. Well, maybe not the tournament one that much. But for the rest of them, I'm going to play with them a lot. And it's good fun. More Dominion goodness. I would say on a scale from 1 to 10 of Dominion expansions, this one's 6, where I say it's good, but not great. With Prosperity being a 10, Seaside being a 9, Intrigue being an 8, and Alchemy being a 4. So that's where I would rate the expansion at this point in time. Cornucopia is good, just not great.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.